Hello, I'm going to make a video tutorial about how to make the IK-FK switching setup that's in this rig I've made in Blender 2.5. So this is the IK foot control, and I make the FK control visible. You can see the FK control here. Just rotate this one to some position. And then you can see the IK-FK switch for the left leg is here, and if I grab it and pull up, then the mesh is blended to the FK controls. So you can see that there's the IK controls back there, and then the FK controls here, and then blended between the two is the deformation bones. So I'll open up another file where we're going to make these controls, the IK-FK switching controls. So here's the file. You might recognise it from previous tutorials, which I'll provide a link to in the video. Should be flashing on screen now. So I'll just pose this IK control, and first thing we'll do is to go into edit mode and make those bones. So I'll do that by duplicating some of the bones from the IK hierarchy. We need to make them selectable first, so I'll come up here and then they're selectable. I'll just press Shift D to duplicate them, and these will be the deformation bones, and I'll Shift D, duplicate them again, and then these will be the FK bones. And if I tab out of edit mode, you can see that the constraints were copied along with the bones themselves, so we'll just remove those now by going to the bone constraints panel. Just resize this, then deleting all the constraints on this bone as well, and also on the feet, the tarsal bone and the toe, and the tarsal bone for this leg as well, and the toe. Now I'll name these new bones. If I press N to bring up the information panel here, and then close all these till I get down to the item, you can see the name here of this IK bone is thigh, this is shin, tarsal, and then toe. Now we're going to name these very similarly, but in the deformation bone hierarchy they'll have a suffix of _def, and in the FK Forward Kinematics hierarchy they'll have a suffix of _FK. So I'll just go ahead and do the first one here, thigh def. Now I'll pause and complete the rest off screen just to save a bit of time. Okay, so now these have all been named. The next thing to do, well, just to show you, I'll close this to begin with by pressing N again. I'll just pose these FK bones a bit. That'll do. These are working fine now. That's exactly how they should work. I've separated the controls out a bit, just so that we can see what we're doing while we're constructing them. At the end of the tutorial I'll be tabbing into edit mode and then box selecting the bones like this, and then grabbing and pressing Control to snap to the grid, and I'll be able to place them directly under the hip. But for now we'll keep them separated. So now we want to constrain the rotation of these deformation bones between the IK hierarchy and the FK hierarchy. We'll need 2 copy rotation constraints for each of these bones, one of which will reference the IK hierarchy and one of which will reference the FK hierarchy. I'll show you how to do that just for the first bone, the thigh, and then I'll do the others off screen to save some time again. So you just come to the bone constraints panel, and with bone selected you go add constraint and copy rotation, and just do that again. Now the first constraint will reference the IK thigh, so choose armature and then just choose the thigh there. So now you can see it's copying the rotation of the IK thigh. Now I'll just minimise this first constraint because we're finished setting that one up. the second copy rotation constraint is going to reference the FK hierarchy. So I'll choose the armature and then thigh FK. And you can see that this second constraint overrides the first one completely. So the deformation thigh is now following the rotation of the FK thigh completely. If I come down to this influence on the second constraint and then pull it down, you can see that as it approaches 0, the thigh for the deformation bone reverts to the first constraint, which makes it copy the rotation of the inverse kinematic thigh. We'll use that fact in a moment, but first I'm going to apply the 2 copy rotation constraints to these other bones, but I'll do that again just off screen to save a bit of time. So now each of these bones in the deformation hierarchy has the 2 copy rotation constraints on it. I'll just adjust this a bit so we can see more clearly. Now remember how the influence on the second constraint, by moving that up and down you can blend between the inverse kinematics hierarchy and the forward kinematics hierarchy. Now that's exactly what we want. We want to be able to blend between those two, but we want to be able to do it on all of these bones at the same time using a single control. That control will look a bit like this one, so we'll, to begin with, go ahead and create that just by tapping into edit mode and duplicating this bone, Shift D, and then Control to snap to the grid, and tabbing out again. I'll name this bone IKFK. Now I'll just turn on the control, the transform gizmo. We can see we're in normal mode here. Now the free axis that moves is the y-axis, and because I copied this bone from this earlier bone, it also copied the limit location constraint here, and this time we do want to keep the constraint, but I'll just change the minimum y value to be 0. And notice that the maximum y value is 0.1. That'll be important later on when we set up the driver. In fact, this is probably as good a moment as any to make a break, and I'll continue the rest of this tutorial in a separate video, which you'll find the link to either on the screen now or just beneath the video or to the side. So hopefully I'll see you soon.